welcome back to another episode of From the Foundation Up. Today we're going to talk about something that probably nobody wants to talk about, and that's when fire strikes and tragedy strikes in an individual's life and they have their home burned down. Unfortunately, we have had the opportunity to build homes for a multitude of people over the years. Of 38 years in business, we've had multitudes of people that we've built homes for that have lost their homes. I've sat across from the desk from people that actually lost a loved one in the fires as well. They've lost their pets, but the worst is losing a loved one. They lose everything. They lose, if you have a partial burn, they might as well have lost everything as well. But you need somebody who's an advocate when that happens. When that tragedy happens, sometimes the last thing you really are thinking about is building a new home because you're just stunned. You're completely in shock. And so you need somebody who can be on your side, help you through the process as to what you need to do next. What do you have to do first? Obviously, the insurance company is first, but then the lender is involved. And sometimes that can get a little bit tricky. So you need somebody who knows exactly what to do and how to do it, in the order what to do it, and then who's going to fight for you, because you're going to need somebody that's on your side. The last thing the insurance companies want to do is for you to have a public adjuster. That is just like poison to them. But unfortunately, sometimes, depending on the agent that you have that's trying to help you, sometimes it's necessary. We never advise people to have to get a public adjuster because it costs you money. But sometimes, like I said, it is necessary. If you have insurance that is replacement coverage, that's great. And then they have the depreciations and appreciation, all kinds of things that come into play. And so you have to go through things on a case-by-case basis. And other things you have to consider. Your home might be, let's just paint a couple scenarios. What if your home was built in the 30s? And there's no way we can build like they did in the 30s. So the insurance company is going to come in and they're going to go through room by room by room, and they're going to give you so much money depending on how your insurance policy was written. You'll have replacement coverage. So not necessarily does, if your home that was from 1930, it was a little two-story and it didn't have insulation as like they do today, they didn't have the floor plan that you really liked, but you don't have to build that house over again. Some people are under that impression that you have to build, because it's replacement, you have to build exactly what burnt down. That's not the case. You can build whatever, I believe, if it's written in your policy, you can replace whatever's there as long as it's covered under your insurance. But there are other things to consider. People lose, when you go through a lifetime of living in a home, you have built all kinds of things into that home. You have furniture in that home, your furnishings, there's just family heirlooms, they're gone. But the things that I can't bring those back. But you have bushes and shrubbery and sidewalks and all the things outside. Those things are things that you may have coverage on as well. So those are things we try to take people through step by step by step. A lot of times the insurance people, just like as a builder and any profession, you get used to and you're very comfortable in your position, in your profession, and sometimes we forget on the human aspect of it. So when those times come, and they do, unfortunately, I typically step in on the customer's behalf and try, as we get some paper signed, we get documents that say, Fran Reiner from Webble Homes, she can talk to my insurance adjuster, and we try to get some things more than the person is getting. Sometimes it's just a communication breakdown. They just aren't communicating well. You have to remember, these people just lost it all. So, it's a very, very hard time. So you have to be very considerate of their feelings and the things that they've gone through. It's just a transaction sometimes on the insurance company's end, but on the customer's end, it's their whole life has been changed and turned upside down. So I'm not putting down any insurance companies. Please do not take away that I have done that, because I'm not. I'm saying, even myself, that as a builder, we sometimes forget on the other side of the transaction what personalities are there, and those people's hearts are hurting. And sometimes that happens as well in the insurance industry, that they lose sight of that. And I've talked to a multitude of agents through the years, and they've told me that. They apologized and said, I kind of just, I lost sight of what was going on here for these folks. So, like I said, if that happens, reach out to us and see if Welbilt is going to be a good fit for you. If we can rebuild your home so you can rebuild your life and start moving on to greater times. I will give you an example of one family who did lose a loved one, and there's just got to be nothing worse. How do you even start over from that? But they did, and they pulled their lives up by their bootstraps. And when they came here, they were so broken. And to sit across the table from someone who has had this happen, the best thing I can do for them is say, look, let's make some of your dreams come true. I can't take back what's happened to you, but let's make some good times happen. Let's look forward to the build. You guys have been through so much. Let me sit in the driver's seat, sign off and say, Fran can talk to the adjuster, and I will talk to the adjuster on your behalf, and we'll get it done. The other situation I had, that was not too long ago, a couple years ago, we had a partial burn down. And we went over, and it was a family not too far from our office. And when I got out of the truck, and my husband was with me, when we got out of the truck, the lady was standing on the sidewalk with her children in hand. And it was so sad because they didn't do what I'm saying, the insurance company didn't do, or the people that hired in the insurance company hired in an individual company to come in and secure the building. They didn't do a very good job at it because their curtains are blowing out of the windows and the siding's flopping alongside the house, and stuff is literally blowing out the windows of this house. And this woman standing there with her two children watching her life blow out the windows. And she said, the insurance company wants us to fix this house. And when you looked at it, it was like, it was a 2-story, but the whole top of it was just burned off on the one side. And how do you do that? How do you fix all that? And because things were not done the way they should have been done for these people, I went in and I called a couple people that we work with, and I had my engineer go out there and I said, look, we got to do something here. This house is not fit to be rebuilt because somebody didn't do their job properly. The house was never secured down. It was never tarped, and now it just rained in it. There was snow, sleet, and ice all over the top of the second floor, what remained of it. And it was just dripping down in there, and that's just an infestation from mold and everything else that goes along with it. And so we battled that, and we had it came down to it that because being well versed in the business, you're only a percentage away from brand new to reconstruction. And it has to make sense. It needs to make sense to do that kind of thing. I can see where if you have a gigantuan house and one side of it burns down and the other side of course I can see the insurance company making a decision like that. But when they don't make a decision like that, and the insurance company made a decision unfortunately to reconstruct a house that was 85% burned down, well, that's when you have to have somebody speak up for you. And that's what we did. I got on board with the township, I got on board with an engineer, and we got on board with the bank. And we made it work. It takes effort. It's a lot of work. And it's a lot of heartbreak because, you try to keep people, elevated, try to keep them on the upbeat, and, people just keep kicking them down. So, like I said, we're not 100% probably for everybody. Of course we're not. That's why there's competition in the building industry. But I would ask that if you do have this happen to you, and it's an unfortunate thing, please give Welbilt Homes an opportunity to assist you and to help you rebuild your home so you can rebuild your life. Until then, I pray that never happens to anyone that's listening to this today. I pray that we never have to build another home for another family who's lost their home in a fire. I pray that, because that is not an easy thing to do. It's not easy on our staff, but I've trained my staff now, because it used to be just me that did that, but I have trained my staff. There's 2 other girls in the office, and they have learned the ropes as to how to get this accomplished for people so that they have that start day. As a matter of fact, here we are right in the middle of May, and today we are starting with someone's home that lost their home in a fire. And that's why I guess today it was prompted for me to do this. But he had lost his home in a fire, and it was a battle, but we got through it, and we're going to get through it. And today is the day he gets to shut that chapter, close that chapter in the book, turn the page, and start moving on into a brighter future and a brighter tomorrow for him. So we wish them all the love and prayers in the world. And as I said, give us a call if that unfortunate thing does happen to you. Give us a call. We have 38 years of experience of working with insurance companies and the townships when tragedy strikes. Till next time, thank you again for coming and chatting with me. Until again, from the foundation up. Thank you.